But hello and welcome back to an emergency podcast. Let me take that back one more time because we're already 54 seconds in. 54 seconds in, brother. Hello, welcome to an emergency podcast. The Switch 2 has been revealed by Nintendo, but it's Thursday. Those fucks. I don't have the patience to wait until Tuesday. So I put out the call, and these four handsome gentlemen, myself included, answered the call. We're going to have a little round table with some gamers to talk about Nintendo's next console. Joining me this week in clockwise order, Cognitive Switch 2. Cognitive, welcome back to the show. How you doing?
I'm sleepy, but I'm good.
EP. We say EP here.
I eat.
EP. Jake Twitchin, how you doing?
I'm in my fucking prime. I'm Jake Switchin.
Ooh.
Let's go.
Not according to your little name tag.
Yeah, let's change the fucking name tag. Oh. And finally, rounding out our four gamers. GWT Maury, my gamble worth taking, not yours, mine. Maury, how you doing?
FYBJ Big Daddy Juan is doing good. I got this bourbon and Diet Coke in me. I'm singing songs in Mandarin. It's a good night.
Little B and DC. LFG brother.
LFG brother.
Normally this would be the part where I do some housekeeping. Fuck housekeeping. But follow us everywhere at Spotlight Games Pod. We usually record every Tuesday night right here on twitch.tv/Spotlight Games Pod. So we'd love it if you followed us so that you're notified when we go live. Just like Pinksy Gaming in the chat. Bama Bruh W's in the chat. Or, go subscribe in your favorite podcast app to Spotlight Games Podcast and maybe leave a review while you're there. Unless it's less than 5 stars, then fuck right off into the sun. We're not taking any feedback at this time. Also, we normally just say go join the Discord. I say all these other things, but it's an emergency. Nintendo showed their whole dick with the Switch 2. And we're going to talk about it, Maury.
Yeah.
It had a magnet. It was weird.
Yeah.
They showed like the base of their dick. They didn't give us like full.
To be fair, it's bigger than it was 7 years ago. So,
true.
Yeah. Well,
that's true. Are we saying that the Nintendo Switch 2 is a grower and a shower?
Yes, definitively.
Okay.
Just like FYBJ.
Well, exactly. Just like FYBJ. Don't look up the meaning. We got Cirrus Shard in the chat. We got Swanky Joinkers in the chat. We got Jasmine in the chat. Look, this is Spotlight Games After Dark. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We're here to be naughty. We're here to talk about the Switch, and we're here to be the dirty dogs. So Jordan, aka Cognitive Switch 2, threw together some ideas. He's in the darkness now, and that's okay. He threw together some ideas, brothers, about what to talk about the Nintendo Switch 2. But I think to start, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe we watch the announcement video together as a family. Yay or nay?
Yay.
Hell yeah. Squanky Joinker says, are we allowed to say whatever the heck we want? You sure are. Within reason. You know what you can't say. Let's be clear. Let me be clear.
Not trying to get a laugh. Not trying to make somebody have the worst day of their podcast.
Exactly. But do any of these Switch fucks?
Do any of these Joy-Cons grow bigger?
Oh, God.
Or have a donkey dick?
Exactly. Well, it can't include that.
No, I hope not.
Here she is.
Yeah.
Kick standing.
Yeah.
For audio listeners.
I'm throbbing.
For After Dark listeners.
Yep.
That's exactly right. Don't love this peach color. Let me just say.
It's weird. A little weird.
Under the joystick is a little much for me. I don't know why.
I don't mind the color. I do like the two-tone, like, just the accents to differentiate.
Sure. I like the accents for sure.
Yeah.
We're at Hot Wheels. We're skating around.
Mm-hmm. Tony Hawk confirmed.
Just imagine having to send your whole Switch in to have that little port fixed because your 3-year-old broke it trying to put
it for sure.
All right, now we're getting to the good. That good. Oh, yeah. This is what the
Mario,
people
baby.
want. Mario Kart.
They kind of do though.
Yeah, I'm the people. Let's be
Okay.
clear.
I am as well.
And that's not all.
Yeah, so we get the 2025. We get the reconfirmation that it's backward compatible
Mostly.
with an asterisk.
Sears Shard makes a very good point. It has more holes.
Mhm.
And
This is
Gaston
factual.
says the 2 is for the number of USB-C ports there are. Also a good point.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the video. General thoughts from the people. Cognitive, let's start with you.
Yeah, just top level. I mean, I'm here for it. Obviously, this isn't another one of those situations that we keep running into in the past year or two where we already kind of saw all this from leakers and all that. But it was nice to actually see it official,
Sure.
nice to see it confirmed.
Yeah.
I think it looks slick. I think it looks comfy, little cozy to hold in my hands.
Mm.
Can't wait to see more. That's where I'm at.
Oh yeah. How about you, Jake?
A little underwhelming. I feel
Mhm.
like it was pushed out the door a little bit because of the leaks, and I think the leaks diminish what we're seeing as well. The fact that we've kind of seen that matte black color scheme slowly trickling out in the form of like the back of the console, the Joy-Cons, the dock. I would have liked if there was like one or two more little bits of information outside of like, we see the console, we have Mario Kart, a new Mario Kart, we have an upcoming Nintendo Direct in April. I would have liked that one more thing, like a launch for the system, a price for the system, one additional game, just a little something more in that 2 minutes.
Yeah. Maury, how about you?
Yeah. As my partners have told me in the past, if you were bigger, it'd be better. So that's why I love this console.
Yeah.
It's got a little more girth.
Yeah.
It looks good. Looks like an upgrade. But I think that announcement video, much like Jake said, it leaves a lot to be desired. I don't think that April 2nd date makes me feel any better. Now I gotta live my life normally for 3 months, having no more to go off of. I guess my thing with this is that, like, when you saw the Switch originally release, it was new, it was innovative, it was bizarre. Like, if you had a video of just the Switch releasing and that's all it was, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But the Switch 2 is just an iteration. It's like a Switch Pro. So I already know everything you're doing with it. There's nothing about, like, me looking at that hardware that gets me excited. I would have really loved to have seen a date, a price, another game, like Jake said. So I'm totally in the same boat with him.
Yeah, I feel like I woke up this morning to this
Gabagool.
in about 7 different places. It was in a text, it was in a Discord, it was inside me. And it's like I'm trying to I go through all of the motions. I'm like, okay, wake up, get the sleep out of my eyes. And I watch it and I was shocked to my core that it made me feel nothing.
Yeah, dude.
But like, to be clear, I am still very excited for the Switch 2.
Yeah.
Totally.
We got new Mario Kart. Like we're going to talk so much about Mario Kart later, but like, I think I was expecting seeing this video for me to want to like run outside and grab the first person I see and say, the Nintendo Switch 2 is real. Kiss me on my mouth.
Yeah.
And I had no desire to even like to change anything. Like I didn't chime in the Discord for like an hour and a half after watching the video. It's like, okay, it's the Switch 2 officially exists, and we're going to see more on the 2nd of April, which feels a bit long to do this. But I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at. And it sounds very negative, but I think I was expecting like a lot, like what you were just saying, Maury and Jake. Like I was expecting more, but I guess I did like what I saw. I just left a little to be desired for me.
Yeah. I hear that. And More, you said something that I've seen a lot today after the announcement that I want to touch on, and I want to get everybody else's thoughts on too, because I do hear a lot of, you can call it a complaint, you can just call it just like commenting on it, but just that it's an iteration or that like it's a known quantity or whatever. But I guess for me, especially these days of this current generation of consoles, I feel like that's what we always get. Like the PlayStation 5 versus the PlayStation 4, like they didn't change anything besides the shape of the console and like adding some features to the controller. Obviously, Exactly. That's exactly what I said. Like obviously the internals are what matters at the end of the day, as far as like being able to experience new video games. And so I think that you kind of hinted at it too. And I believe maybe it was Tim on Kind of Funny this morning when they did their live reaction. One of them was talking about, for that first Switch reveal trailer, they really did have to kind of sell the concept of it because it was a new concept. Now we have the Switch OLED and the Lite and the Steam Deck and the Asus, whatever the hell. They don't really have to sell the concept anymore as much as they just need to show you a few things that it's going to be different about. So I don't know, like, did you want to expound on that at all, Maury, or was it just kind of like that just was your take and that's it? Or as far as how you feel it's an iteration and not anything revolutionary?
Yeah, totally. No, and I agree. I think when you look at like PlayStation, Xbox, like it really is just only ever an iteration. I think the most innovative thing that we've seen from PlayStation in the last 20 years was like the touchpad. Like it's not that exciting, you know what I mean? But I guess that's why I kind of get excited about Nintendo consoles, is because there's always so much innovation. Like you look at the Wii and the motion controls that like set a whole trajectory for the games industry. Everybody was trying to do something relating to that. You look at PlayStation Move, right? You look at even like what they were doing with Kinect and the PlayStation camera. Like almost everything was trying to mimic the magic that the Wii captured. And then even though the Wii U was a fail, like even though it dropped so hard, that idea of having the tablet, which was kind of that first idea of the Switch just not fully fleshed out, right? That you could pull off and you could sit down with as a controller. Like I thought that was super innovative. And then the Switch, which is basically saying, hey, I know we messed up with the Wii U, but what if we could get it perfect? What if we could make the most innovative console ever? I guess that for me, you're right. I don't think that the rest of the industry is innovating much, but Nintendo is always innovating. And so to see something, it's not that I need them to innovate on the Switch, but to see something so not innovative and then for you to give me nothing else left me just like, dude, it was just a thud for me today, seeing that launch. Yeah.
That actually makes a lot more sense, like putting it in that context. Because again, the internet being what it is, you usually just see like this is just an iteration, and you know, everybody else who likes it is stupid or whatever. You know,
Or if I can butt in a little bit on like the iteration, it makes me think a little bit about like Nintendo has historically, for like the last 5 console generations, not just done the iteration, which I think is interesting. Because if you look, we've kind of been on like this every other set for Nintendo, where like the Nintendo 64 was all around like a success, pretty well regarded. The GameCube was the weakest of the 3 consoles in its generation. The Wii was a raving success and started to separate itself. And then the Wii U was pretty much a failure. And then the Nintendo Switch, obviously an insanely successful console. I think maybe just iterating is what needed to happen here.
Yeah, I think that you're onto something there of like, I mean, the Switch is very well on its way to become the best-selling console of all time. Maybe it doesn't overtake the PS2, which I think is still in first. It is. Wrong. Yep. But like, it would be silly for them to be like, all right, and now our screen is a circle and our controller is a frisbee. Like that wouldn't make any sense for sure.
Right.
It would be a Nintendo thing to do up until this point.
It would. You're right. But I think Swanky asks a question in the chat, says, do each of you have one thing they could have announced or piece of info they could have given you that would have moved you from excited to over the moon? I think that's a really good question.
Yeah.
Do you have one, Patrick?
I think for me, it's games, because now that we know that that it is, all of the rumors were true. It is bigger. It is stronger. The stand gives it a little more like flexibility. I'm assuming that like the mouse of it all, it going nearly flat has something to do with that, where like, you put it on your desk or whatever, and now you're looking down at it like with I don't know. So like I assume there's something to it being able to bend that much that means something for them. But I feel like it a little bit more than just 8 seconds of Mario Kart, or even another 15 seconds of Mario Kart, just like something that is a new quantity, because there's probably 100 million people that this entirely was a new quantity for them. But for us, for all the people in the chat, for gaming enthusiasts, all of us, like, we've heard about these rumors. We saw at CES that they brought a fucking case that was the exact match of what we just saw. They like everything that had been leaked was confirmed to be true. So that's part of, I think, why there isn't an over the moonness of it all. And I bet you compare this to the first podcast we do after the 2nd of April, and I'm ready to flip a fucking desk at how excited I am.
Sure.
I think ultimately it's the games that we're missing for me.
Yeah. How about you, Maury?
Yeah, no, I love what Jake said about iteration. Like, I don't think it was the time for them to iterate. They've landed on the gold mine. But I love that question of like, you know, what would have made it worthwhile for me? What would have made me excited? Because that was really all I wanted was, if you're not going to innovate, give me something to go and scream and rave and rant about. I really would have loved to have seen like a price point. I'm not going to just steal Patrick's answer of the games because, like, obviously, right? Like, show me a 0.5 second snippet of Metroid Prime 4, like, and I'll be giddy, right? But just giving me a price point, giving me an idea of some type of ballpark, or something related to the specs of this console. You know, we've heard the rumors that it's going to basically be the equivalent of a PlayStation 4. Can I get like a little press briefing after you release that trailer, giving me some detail? Was there a press briefing released? Patrick, I hear you breathing, and I think you're about to tell me that they did.
I didn't see a press briefing. Doesn't mean that there wasn't one.
Okay.
I was going to say something different that it doesn't exist anymore in my brain because of that. So keep going.
I'm so sorry.
No. You're good.
No. Yeah, I would have loved to have just, it literally could have been anything. I just think that because there was no innovation and you just cut the video off there, it could have been a price point. It could have been a game, whatever. Patty, go. Yeah,
There's no way they don't know the price of this.
Yeah, no, they know.
Like, throw in that it's going to be $399.99, and I don't know that would have necessarily made me over the moon, but at least there would have been just like another checkbox of like, okay, great, now we know the price. That's not something that we have to debate now. That, you know, like, so yeah, I think that isn't. It's weird that they didn't include that in hindsight.
Yeah,
I think that the only press briefing type of thing that they had after the fact was that the website, like the official Nintendo website, has been updated. And now you can actually go and see, you know, at the end of that trailer, they talk about in-person experiences, and they kind of go a little bit more in depth about how that works as far as registering, because it's a free thing, but it's like a lottery system. It looks like, like register to win a ticket kind of thing. But Jake, you had something?
Yeah, I mean, I a little bit will steal Patrick's answer for games, but I would have loved. I think that we're past that point, but I miss like the old days where when the console was revealed for the first time, it was like truly like, hey, here's like the Space World 2008 tech demo for this game, or like, you know, I think about like the old like GameCube Zelda tech demo where we saw a realistic Link and Ganondorf in like a crazy scenario that we never seen. And then when Waker came out and everyone flipped their lid because it didn't look like the one that was shown before. But I would have loved, like, instead of, if we spent 15 seconds with Mario Kart, I would have loved 3 seconds on like 5 different games.
Sure.
Just kind of flip through them real quick. Even if it was like, here's Twilight Princess HD and here's Breath of the Wild running in 60 FPS locked or something like that. Like, give us a little something to get hyped about. And then one other thing that I feel like they sort of missed the mark on, and I understand that you kind of had to have the fine print there, and I think it's supposed to be a point of excitement, was talking about the backwards compatibility and saying like, hey, this thing is backwards compatible with Switch games, I think is supposed to be like, aren't you excited about that? But instead, because there's so much fine print and everyone, like, that's the thing that people rewind to and they look at, and they're like, what do you mean it's compatible with most stuff? I wonder if they could have pivoted and been like, compatible with 98% of Switch games or something like that, because a lot of the dialogue that I've seen around that today is, don't be concerned, for the most part everything that you're hoping will be compatible. It's some things that use like the IR sensors, things like 1-2 Switch might not function the right way with that, or Ring Fit Adventure or something along those lines. But I think for all intents and purposes, it's not going to be like, well, you can play Tears of the Kingdom but not Breath of the Wild or anything.
Sure.
Right. I think that might be there was a way to pivot that and make that a little more hype that could have changed it up a little bit for us.
One more quick thing from the chat before we move on to the next bit, Jordan. Mr. Jordan says, do you think they're holding back price because they're legitimately worried about the tariff threats? I don't think it's a bad take. I would be interested to hear if that is part of it for them. I would be more apt to guess that they just they like to drizzle out like all everybody like whether it's PlayStation, Xbox, whatever. They want to slowly release stuff so that there's always like a new thing at the top of people's minds, I guess. But it could be that for sure, maybe.
I was gonna say, like, there's no shot. Like, if they put a tariff on the Switch 2, don't worry, it's gonna be January 6th everywhere. All right, so I don't think they're worried about that. We'll burn down the country. Okay,
I think when it comes to price, to maybe put like a bow on that, I think that the idea is you didn't show enough to qualify yourselves for showing a price. I think
that's a great point.
Yeah, shooting yourself in the foot. Like, I think to the most recent example we have was the announcement of the
Pro.
PlayStation 5 Pro, where at the end they showed basically nothing and just talked out of their asses about all these new functions and features that nobody really cares about except for people at like the really, really high end of like technical gaming. And then the little like money shot at the end, for lack of a better term, was $700 price tag, and that's all anybody was talking about that day, was this overpriced system that no one's going to buy.
That's a really good point. You know what I've not thought about buying a single time since that press release or that video is the PlayStation 5 Pro.
For sure. I think it's the difference between telling you that we have a $175 steak and rolling that steak out on a cart for you to look at and being like, this one right here is $175. There wasn't enough shown for them to justify a price tag that's likely higher than $350, which is the Switch OLED's price.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, I think it is just a slow drip situation. Because, am I mistaken? I thought that there actually was some sort of announcement for the PS5 Pro first, and then there was a separate showcase like a few days later that had all the specs and then the price. Am I wrong?
I thought they said price in the first video.
It was the Herman Hulst, not Herman Hulst, who's Dana Carvey.
It was a Dana Carvey video. Yeah.
yeah. It was the 20-minute presentation that had the last thing that they showed was the.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Not a single new game shown that day, by the way.
Still hasn't shown a new game.
They showed Yotai. It wasn't even there.
True.
Like, it's so crazy. It's so crazy.
They can't show Ben's new game. Maybe we'll save that for another time.
We'll save that for Tuesday, because Tuesday is going to be a PlayStation spectacular, a PlayStation not so spectacular, actually. Of the things we're going to be talking about.
But right now, we're going to be talking about Seth Rogen. Because the new Donkey Kong design apparently looks a lot more like the movie design than like classic designs for at least the Mario Kart game specifically. So yeah, we can just go ahead and just dive straight into the Mario Kart stuff. I mean, any top level thoughts on that? I mean, I think pretty much all four of us are some degree of excited about a new Mario Kart game coming out because they're enjoyable to play. At least it seemed like from the initial reactions that you gave.
Oh yeah, I'm stoked for Mario Kart, whatever they're gonna call it.
Yeah,
I have gotten about as much. Was there another bit that I missed? Yeah, okay, here we go. I've gotten about as much as I possibly can out of Mario Kart 8, and it's time for me to 100% another Mario. I'm trying to get a good shot of Donkey Kong. I don't know that I'm going to be able to get it in the way that StreamYard does video, but he definitely does.
IGN had a kind of like a slightly zoomed in pic.
That's your best bet. Oh, you actually nailed it. That's the best look we have at Donkey Kong.
I don't think I can zoom in though.
That's okay.
What a shame.
I'm going to go grab. I'm going to adjust the share. Just go grab a picture. Who else has thoughts?
To your all's point about how you would have been a lot more excited if they'd shown more games. Like, so for me personally, I'm just excited that we got the reveal at all. Like, because it's already gonna be a day one purchase for me, regardless. But speaking to your point though, like when they showed this Mario Kart footage, I just assumed it had been so long since I played Mario Kart 8 because I didn't even pick up the deluxe version on Switch. So it's been since the Wii U that I played Mario Kart 8. I just assumed it was them showing Mario Kart 8 just running smoother because it looks great, like as far as like the frame rates and all that stuff as they show it. But I didn't even realize it was a new game until I looked at like some of the discourse like on IGN and other places. They're like, oh, this looks new because this doesn't look like any courses that have been released on Deluxe yet for DLC or whatever. So so now I'm like, okay, that does excite me actually to know that it was a new one. But yeah, I'll probably be picking it up at some point, especially now that the kids are there. It is. There he is.
Wow.
Look at him.
Yeah, psych. It's a new DLC pack for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Deluxe.
Yeah. That's horrifying. But
Horrifying.
Yeah, I hate that.
But yeah, it is definitely like looking at on the right side, like the clip from the movie, and I guess the bottom middle is also from the movie.
Yeah.
It certainly is giving movie version for sure.
For sure. Yeah.
Didn't it make like $1 billion or something?
Even
Wasn't it
Mario
really
is a little bit redesigned. It kind of looks a little bit more like the Mario Wonder. Okay. A little bit more like the Mario Wonder.
Should you guys
Mario.
see that? Fuck.
Oh
That's a
no!
risk. That's a risk.
Am I sharing my screen?
already searched recent history.
Control H.
I'm most interested with Mario Kart, whatever, in two things. What do we think it's called, and this 24 players thing?
Yeah,
Where should
That
we
24 players thing is kind of nuts. I'm excited to see them show more about that, because that could be that was one of the selling points for Smash Brothers Ultimate, was being able to have 8 people, going at it at once. So to have 24 people, like maybe they'll have a functional online for once in their lives. I don't know. That could be fun.
I could be totally off. Where is the 24-player talking point coming from?
Right
here.
there.
right there, baby.
So if you count the spots, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's spaces for 24 people in it.
And I think
go ahead, Jake.
I was going to say, from a technical aspect, most recently Mario Party Jamboree launched with a 24-person mode. So I don't know how similar the back end is, but they have been kind of experimenting with these larger multiplayer situations in recent, even first party games. So,
Well, they showed a bigger back end at the start of the video. It looked like.
see what you did there.
I see what you did there. We're talking about asses, I believe.
Correct.
Assets.
Yeah.
Patrick,
So
grow up.
no, thanks. Do we think 24 players is multiplayer only, or do we think that there could be 24 players in like 24 people connected to one Switch? No, that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. But like in single player, like, are you going against 23 computer players?
I think so. I guess so.
Yeah.
I think in some modes, I would be surprised if Grand Prix wasn't still like 12 players.
Agreed.
But I bet they'll have an option to double that.
Because again, going just based off of how they did it with Smash Bros. Ultimate, like it wasn't 8 players for every mode. It was only 1 or 2 modes you could have the 8-player showdown. So yeah, I think 1 or 2 types of modes with the 24, including hopefully online multiplayer. But
I think fundamentally things might get pretty chaotic with 24 players in every single mode for like tournament play and people that are like, Mario Kart purists, just from the amount of like banana peels that could end up on the track throughout like the thing. It might be a little crazy with all those green shells bouncing back and forth. First place.
Everybody close your eyes.
20 people. Okay.
Close your eyes. I want you to envision something. Chat, Swanky, Jaskrin, Game Over Cholo, close your eyes. Imagine you're with your friends, you're playing Mario Kart 9 : full nude. And that's the subtitle of the game. Not you could be nude too, but you're going through, I'm going to play multiplayer. We're 150cc. I'm going to choose, whatever tournament we're going to do. And in that tournament is Baby Park. 24 players in Baby Park.
Shut it off.
It would be a full lap of just getting the people in place.
Yeah.
It's got to happen. Baby Park with 24 people, got to happen.
Shut it off. Turn it off.
I hate that.
No.
I hate that so much.
It would be.
I'm gonna vomit.
It would be so terrible. Jaskrin in the chat has said something that I have not thought of that is really hurting me. Those display bezels. Look at all this space.
Yeah, and this is a big Nintendo Switch, not a big Nintendo Switch OLED. Like that is apparent to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the OLED is slick. It has that really thin bezel in comparison and that nicer screen. This thing will look dated sooner than later, sooner rather than later. It feels like.
Yeah, I think that maybe that was part of the reason why they wanted to go with the solid color, because it's harder for like someone like me that it's not that I don't notice those kind of things, but I didn't notice quite how big the bezels were until we just brought it up here.
Yeah,
because the whole system just like flows together so nicely, and it's still a bigger screen. Like that is still a bigger screen than the OLED, if not the exact same size of it. So it's not going to bother me.
Sure,
but Yeah, it's there.
Just
Once you see,
imagine though, once we get the
unsee it.
OLED. Oh.
But this is my thing, right? Like we've all talked about how all this is an iteration. That was the right decision for Nintendo to make. But where I get confused is like you hit a height with the OLED and now you're like taking a step back. Is that to keep the price at 400? I don't know. But what I do know is that the fact that all of us are saying, well, can you believe whenever the OLED comes out? Like, how many people are going to wait for the OLED because they experienced the OLED Switch? Now, I don't know. Nintendo fans are a really dedicated bunch. But it just seems like, why would you take a step back if all you're doing is iterating? Why not iterate with the best version of the last console that you had? Even if it is 450, 500. Is that not worth it? I don't know.
Nintendo likes to make big,
to
blocky nightmares.
Sure.
Just like as they're starting, they like to make big blocky nightmares as their first console. Like if you look at like the original Game Boy Advance, which actually is maybe an outlier because I love that console, but like if you look at like, the Game Boy Advance SP or like the Game Boy Micro is such a slick little system, and then to exactly funnel into like the nasty original Nintendo DS, like there is kind of a step back every time, and they love shipping a console that looks fine and then iterating on it and making it slicker and slicker and slicker multiple times. Like at this point, I think the Switch Lite is a way better looking and feeling console than a Nintendo Switch launch console or a regular Nintendo Switch. That's, by the way, still sold at its retail price at your local retailer. Like, it's launch, it's insane.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to what I believe it was Patrick was saying it like a few minutes ago about the people who really care about this stuff, you know, are the ones who will either trade up when an OLED comes out or wait for an OLED. The other, however many tens of millions of people are just going to scoop the first model up no matter what.
Totally.
And
I'm sorry, keep going.
I think that there is still some debate as far as how much an OLED screen bumps up production costs, but we still see that whatever that cost may be on the back end, they still give it to us to pay for it. Like Steam Deck came out first, and then a Steam Deck OLED that's more expensive. Switch came out, then a Switch OLED, and like, is there like seriously? This is an honest question because I tried to look earlier and I couldn't find a straight answer. Is there a handheld like like an Asus or a ROG or whatever? Like, is there one of those that has an OLED screen as the base model? Because if there is, I haven't found
valid.
It.
Yeah.
The last time there was a base model handheld with an OLED screen was the PlayStation Vita. And that was just ahead of its time. Like that, there was no need for the Vita to start with an OLED screen. Yeah. But yeah, it was so fucking pretty.
Yeah, it was.
And like, it is so tough to go from an OLED Switch to a base Switch or a Switch Lite. Like once you see that OLED screen, it is night and day how much better the quality is. And so there's some conversation in the chat between Sirius Shard and Jaskrin about whether or not like they'll think it's laminated. Jaskrin seems to think it definitely will be. I don't really know what that means compared to a non-laminated screen, but I hope that they do whatever they can to make this thing as bright as possible and as good as possible. I mean, the PlayStation Portal, I think that's LCD. That looks about as close to an OLED screen that I have seen in a handheld. It's really, really pretty. But I look at it next to the Switch, I'm like, oh, there's still a very noticeable difference. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I guess most of the people that will buy the OLED Switch are probably just going to buy the base Switch too and then upgrade. Probably. I mean, Jaskrin said that he's going to wait for the OLED, but I'm sure the people at Nintendo doing the maths know that there must not be enough Jaskrins out there for them to, you know what I mean? Like there must be, because otherwise they would be launching with OLED. And that breaks my heart because I want them to fucking launch with OLED.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be nice. Cause again, like, I mean, my OLED's right over there. I got it along with the special edition of Metroid Dread.
Oh,
there it is
sitting up there.
Oh, I love that. Oh.
Yeah. And like, cause y'all know me, I got to get my Metroids. So like, I wonder if I think there's a couple of routes that they may take. They may surprise us. They may on April be like, look, on May 25th, you can buy this base model or wait until August 2nd and get the OLED model, something like that. Or they may be waiting until a Metroid Dread, tier game that's going to really show off how crisp that OLED will look.
Sure. And
then they'll, kind of sync up those releases like that.
A quick personal question, Jordan, if I may.
You may.
What you just showed us, is that a window?
Yes, this is the basement. So my father, he's a very smart man.
Hell yeah.
They are those little, I don't know what you call them. They just call them like half windows or whatever.
Sure.
So
I was just
no,
like, what a small shelf. But I was like, that's probably a window.
No,
I was just so confused about the size of your shelf.
It is
your
straight up a
wall.
window that I just use to like display some stuff. So I've got
Great.
I got my
Like when
Sea of
someone mounts a
Stars.
TV halfway up the wall.
Right.
I got my Sea of Stars special edition. I got my Dread and my amiibo up there. So yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
It's
I
a
just was
window.
like, man, that is a
Yep.
comically small shelf. Yeah, I understand now that is a window. Also, Swanky Joinker is in the chat asking a question that none of us have thought to ask. Do you think the Switch 2 will make my wife take me
Wow.
back?
Wow.
With a
Swanky.
Joy-Con that size, maybe.
Possibly.
Maybe.
Maybe. We don't know.
Yeah.
Bigger's better. I don't know.
The other half of the question that was posed, name of Mario Kart next. I feel like we're going in one of three. Can I go a little crazy in Mario Kart Iceberg with you guys a little bit?
Yeah.
Please.
Okay.
Do you want the one?
No.
Give him the one. Give him the one.
Give him the one.
Okay. So in my head for a long time, I've been thinking about how can Nintendo recapture the magic of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and its character and DLC reveals. And my theory for a very long time has been via Super Nintendo Kart or Super Smash Brothers Kart or just Nintendo Kart or whatever the next Mario Kart is, being not a numbered sequential Mario Kart and potentially not even having Mario in the title. And I think that it's still possible that that's what we're moving toward, because for a long time there were many Nintendo events that were anchored not by the games that were shown, but by the DLC that was shown for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. What was the next collab going to be? And it was that way even prior to that too, with announcements for the like Super Smash Bros. 4 for the Wii U and 3DS as far as like collabs go. And I would really love to see them move in that direction even further, which we've already seen them start to do. We've had a lot of Nintendo stuff come through. We've had DLC that added Link and Animal Crossing villagers and Splatoon characters. Like, we're well on our way to that, and I think that that would be a really easy way to capture the magic. I had a theory for a long time that that might be what Sakurai is working on next, would not be a Smash Brothers game, but in fact be a Mario Kart game. And that could be his project. And I think probably he's working on a Smash Brothers again, even though he said he wouldn't, because that's what you do, is what you're good at. But I think that would be a really, really interesting way to kind of like really reboot and refresh the Mario Kart franchise and give Nintendo something that they've been looking for to kind of recapture that hype for quite a while. And then in addition to that, because of that idea, if they're going in that direction, I feel like it's one of three different things as far as the name goes. It could be Mario Kart 9. A lot of people are saying Mario Kart 9. I think that if it is a drastic step in a new direction, they might skip the 9 and just go to 10 if they're going to keep the Mario Kart name. Just because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is so significant, especially in not even just like with its additions between Mario Kart 8 and the Deluxe that shipped, but with the additional track pack and the characters they added there. And that was a game that was supported for 11 or 12 years.
Yeah, it's huge.
Over 2 different console generations. I wouldn't bat an eye if they launched the next one as Mario Kart X or Mario Kart 10 and then said, oh no, 9 was 8 Deluxe. Like, okay, yeah,
Sure.
you had 9 Mario Kart games, that's fine.
Their launch video was about as Apple as you can get, so that's
for
the Apple
sure.
move.
yeah, and you're not wrong. And then the other, like, I would say it's going to be Mario Kart 9, Mario Kart 10, Mario Kart something subtitle, and we drop the thing. It could be Triple Dash or whatever the fuck they want to go with. And then of course something like a Super Nintendo Kart or a Super Smash Kart would be the 4 options.
Yeah. Gamer Richolo in the chat says the leaks of boxes for Switch 2 with a big 9.
Oh, haven't seen it myself.
I haven't seen it myself, but I believe you. I believe you implicitly. Game Over Cholo.
I do as well.
I was kind of thinking that we would get a subtitle, that we would skip the number, that it'd be like, back to the Double Dash type era of Mario Kart, whatever.
Yeah.
Jaskrin says, I'd put my money on Mario Kart for Nintendo Switch 2.
Oh, that's such an ugly name.
Yeah.
That is, yeah, I will take that bet with you, Jaskrin, if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Shit, no shot. That's a butt ugly name.
but we love
Far
you.
away.
It ain't
Jaskrin saved my PC.
This is
Jaskrin, you're
true.
a king.
This is true.
But there's no way in hell Nintendo's throwing that game under the bus with that name. There's just no thought. There's just no way. If you guys don't mind, I actually want to pitch a question to y'all.
Yeah.
I want to know, what are the 3 games, and we'll say no Mario Kart. What are the 3 games that you would like to see launch with the Nintendo Switch 2? Do you think, I mean, if you think there's no shot that we get 4 launch titles, then let's just throw Mario Kart as the 3 spot. But what are the titles you think you'll see, that you want to see, etc.? Jake, do you want to take it?
Yeah, definitely. And I want to iceberg about one of these at one point, but
give this man an iceberg again. Fuck.
Everybody should answer first. I want to see the often rumored Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD, and I know that's a little bit of a cop out to just go with like a HD remaster as a Nintendo Switch 2 launch title. But those have been rumored too long for them not to be real, and they don't seem to be filling that void of time where the Switch 2 was delayed with those games, which makes me think that they may have been being developed as a launching on both, or just becoming a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive to kind of move units and have that Zelda name in there. So I'm gonna go with I'll take those as like one. Okay. And then I would love to see. My iceberg for later is whatever the Mario Odyssey team is working on, presumably another Mario title. And then for my third one, I hope that whatever Monolith Soft is working on is next. And I know we're getting Xenoblade Chronicles X, but you go ahead.
Wind Waker... so Patrick from the Nintendo Switch Times, question for Jake. Jake, what would you say to the rumors that the next Mario Odyssey game also includes Donkey Kong in a large role, and it is Mario and Donkey Kong Odyssey 2?
Iceberg time, baby. All right, so listen, there was rumors probably 3 or 4 years ago that the Mario Odyssey team was working on a Donkey Kong 3D platformer. And then about 2 years ago, it came to fruition that they were actually working on a 3D Mario game to launch alongside the Switch 2, which was really momentous news because do you guys know when the last time a 3D Mario game launched with a Nintendo console?
Nintendo 64.
Nintendo 64. It was Mario 64, which was obviously a unbelievable launch, a game that revolutionized 3D gaming. So to have a Nintendo launch with a Mario game of like that nature, I think would be really, really huge news. My guess in the long run. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Jake. I just had a quick question for you from the Nintendo Times as well.
Moria, didn't you see there? I thought this was my beat.
You're good. You're good.
I'm sorry. You can drive us on the way back.
Wicked Carpool. Jake, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to cut you off. Dude, that was a great bit. Patrick, that was a great bit. Jake, I'm so sorry. I have to know this right now. I meant to ask it before fucking Patrick, my other, fellow reporter at Nintendo Times, butted in. Is Twilight Princess and Wind Waker going to release as one package? Yes or no?
I think physically, yes, and I think digitally, no.
Okay, cool. I'm sorry.
Emotionally,
your thought?
Probably not.
I don't want to bring
be more distant
work into this, but Maury, last time you didn't call it the Nintendo Switch Times. You got a demerit, so
damn it,
you're in trouble.
Don't report him.
We said we're going to be naughty tonight, Patrick. I'm sorry.
The two rumors about that team, the internal team at Nintendo working from Odyssey, which by the way, we gave the internal team that was working on Tears of the Kingdom so much hell for the development time that it took for them to flip fucking Breath of the Wild into Tears of the Kingdom. They had 7 years. People often forget that now that Tears of the Kingdom is more than a year old, that Mario Odyssey launched like 6 months after that in the same fucking year. Like Mario Odyssey is a 2017 game. They have had time to cook on that. Yeah. It came out the year that the Switch came out, and they are now once again working on putting out a Mario game during the time that the Switch 2 is coming out. But I think that those rumors coincide indeed. And I think that what we're getting is quite likely a combination of the Mario and Donkey Kong IP, probably under the moniker of the Mario IP without Donkey Kong in the name, and having Donkey Kong just kind of be a star in it, where he'll probably start out as like an antagonist that flips and becomes like the Uneasy Alliance type situation.
The Last of Us Part 2, got it.
Yeah. No, it'll be better than that.
There's already fungus. There's already mushrooms everywhere.
So I think that it'll be a Mario game, a 3D Mario game with a huge emphasis on Donkey Kong being the villain for the first time since, Mario Brothers in the arcade, which will be really cool. I think those are together.
I'm really excited to see Donkey Kong beat Luigi's skull in. That's going to be
wow.
Ryan Selvey says that he wants to know if Maury can get detention. And if we're going naughty, Maury can get detention. That's for sure. The three that I would like, because I'm going to go from here. I don't want to just take anything that Jake says for the sake of the content. But if we don't get the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess on camera, I will flip a table. I will be
Yeah.
so fucking pissed.
Agreed.
Because this has been so long that there have been just juicy rumors of my favorite Zelda game, and it's not Twilight Princess, being dangled in front of me. And I swear to fucking God, if when this console launches in May or June or whatever the fuck, if I can't play Wind Waker on it, I will flip a table live on camera. And that doesn't sound like enough. I'm going to think of something that will be damaging to something. And that's going to happen. I'm going to be so fucking pissed if we don't get Wind Waker.
Never forget.
But go ahead.
They did just add, I told you this the other day, they did just add the original Wind Waker soundtrack to Nintendo Music this week.
Oh.
Or was it the end of last week? It's been within the past like 10 days. They've added that in there.
Yeah, but Brian says, do you think it's going to launch as soon as May or June? No way. Yeah, no way. I was just fired up. I bet this is like late summer, early fall. I don't think this is a Christmas thing.
We'll
get there. We'll get there. So I think 3D Mario makes sense at launch. Although I don't know that we get Mario Kart and 3D Mario right at launch.
Yeah.
But I'll let Maury talk about that one. So I'm just going to swing for the fences. I don't necessarily think this is true, but I think the question was, what would I want?
Yeah.
Animal Crossing. Give me a new Animal Crossing.
Wow. Good.
That would be awesome. If we could get, if this launched with a new Animal Crossing, I think that would be amazing. I am going to stick with the Twilight Princess Wind Waker duo combo as my number 2. And then my number 3, in terms of a game I'd want, let's bring an old IP back. Let's get I think it's a boring game. I've said it many times on here, but let's get Star Fox back in the frame.
Ooh, I would love that.
What a shit fucking franchise, but let's
Star
give it
Fox
another
Adventures
shot.
2, dude, with the hot one. I mean, that cool girl one.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Okay. I loved the Star
Crystal.
Fox call out. That's so tough. That was the first game I ever played on the 64. We'll get
only up from there.
Only up from there. Only up from there. Jordan, what are your top 3 that you want to see, baby? What are your top 3?
I mean, it's gonna be boring because it's me, and it's not a bit. I'm just serious about this game, dude. I want Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah.
And it's already going to be a given that it's going to be on the Switch too, because they announced it for the Switch. Like that's a given. But I do think that they're going to go the cross-gen route, like they did with Breath of the Wild, like they did with if you think about the PS5 launch having Miles Morales as part of it, or like I think they're going to have it be available for both at the launch, and it's going to be like enhanced somehow for the Switch too, like as an incentive. Like maybe there's some sort of feature that's only accessible with the new hardware that you can't quite get, even though it's fully functional, fully playable on the OG Switch. Yes.
The mouse, maybe. Continue. I'm sorry.
Ooh,
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. And I'm gonna take a swing because I don't know about like it's weird because I'm just so excited for the console itself, and I already know that my game of the year is already going to be on it. What if they launch with, in addition to Nintendo Switch Online, that includes...
Get to it! Let me hit the ball!
GameCube on the Nintendo Switch Online.
Oh, I love that.
GameCube on Nintendo Switch Online.
That's sexy.
As part of the launch.
Fucking rotator cuff. That would be really cool if we got that, for sure.
All right. I just don't. I think that they would already have done that if they were gonna fucking do it, but we have proven to them that we'll just literally just shell out $40 for every GameCube game they put a light coating of paint on. So I just feel like we're past that point now. GameCube games are too modern.
I will not take that slander on Metroid Prime Remastered.
It's a very nice remaster, but we shouldn't have paid $40. We made a mistake.
Wow, I disagree completely.
As a society,
I'll go to
it was great. I loved it.
As a society, he says.
No.
I paid $40 twice for it. It's up there on my window too.
I did too, because I bought it digitally because it came out digitally first, and then I bought the physical. Anyway, this is Jordan's dream list, not Jake's fucking rants. Jordan, continue. Ignore this motherfucker. All right, why are we listening to his bitch?
I'm actually
remaster Iceberg.
I'm actually too upset to continue. So,
can I change Star
think of a
Fox?
third.
Can I give you a third? Can you take this third from me?
Star Fox is awesome, but I'll take it.
Let me give you a third. let's launch with a fucking Xbox game on Switch 2.
That's
let's get
insane.
let's get fucking
yeah.
Gears. Let's get fucking Halo
Wow.
Infinite.
Wow.
I think with how
Okay.
hard they're going, I could see
a
maybe
chance.
we get something naughty from Xbox.
Sure.
Like,
Cameo
launch time.
elements of power, baby.
Yeah, I mean, it'll probably be, go back to the Wii U of like the Batman Arkham Armored Edition. Like it'll probably be like a game that's 19 years old, but it's an Xbox game.
Halo
I think
Combat
we can
Evolved.
even. I know somebody already dropped Silk Song in the chat because that game doesn't exist. I wish it did. I really wish it did. And I know that's another iceberg for Jake. So just
Sure.
next time. No, but I could definitely see them having some sort of more recent and like higher end indie as a launch, like Neva, for example.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like because it's not actually no, I guess Neva is on the Switch. I was trying to think of one that wasn't on the Switch already.
Hellblade 2, Senua's Saga, Sacrifice.
Don't.
We want a game, not a fucking snooze fest.
Oh my God,
I
Jake.
agree. I agree.
You're just trying to
Yeah.
you're just trying to do this.
Man,
It's perfect.
that was wild. Jordan, what is
Wild.
Jordan? How are you closing out your list? I mean, I love the GameCube like launching with it. I love the Metroid Prime 4 pick. What are you doing to round it out? What do you send it home with?
Again, I was trying to rack my brain for some sort of higher end indie that isn't already on the Switch. Like
Hades
again,
2?
as an incentive. What's that?
Hades 2.
God, that would be so cool.
That has
It is,
Nintendo
but it's not-
DNA. It was only available on Nintendo for
Yeah.
consoles for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
But it's not a 1.0 yet. That's the only thing.
No.
Yep.
And
But
it's-
if it launches in like September,
There's a chance.
there's a chance. There's a chance. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it open because I'm fumbling.
No, I like that. High quality indie game. Tough.
I like you.
there you go.
God, I love you.
Maury,
Jordan.
what are your three? You sack of shit.
Ah, damn, sack of shit is crazy, dude. I want to shout out Squanky Joinkers in here for saying Disco Elysium 2. I almost finished reading that. Yeah, that would be great. But obviously,
We
we're
want
never
a
gonna see
game,
that.
not a.
Don't. No. Jake, you're lying.
Hey, he did it to me. He can do it to you.
No, there's no way. You don't actually feel this way. That's a bold-faced lie. that
If
you just
I-
told.
If I could take a fucking half-court shot and know I'm gonna fucking get nothing but the bottom of the net, it's that Jake does not like Disco Elysium.
Dude,
This
I
is-
fucking hate it. I love reading my games, bro.
Bro, you're a whore.
The,
You're a whore.
the holy
You're a
trinity
whore.
of shit I don't like is like Disco Elysium, Hellblade Senua's Saga, and
Animal Well.
Citizen Sleeper.
Okay,
Mm.
so Jake, we're going to do a stream. It's going to be a 24-hour stream where I make you play Disco Elysium for 24 hours, and I'm going to prove you wrong. We'll get there in another life, okay? Anyway, back to, again, this motherfucker interrupted everybody's list to talk shit. This motherfucker, get him out of here. Kick his bitch ass out of here. Bro, get him going. Literally, I'm tired of his ass.
All right, keep going, Maury.
Anyway, I would obviously like we're doing a dream list, so I can say whatever I want. This is never going to happen in any universe, but obviously I'm right there with Jordan. Give me Metroid Prime 4 and give me what the Metroid Dread team is working on now. Give it to me. Double up on the Metroid. Like feed me. This is my dream list. It's not realistic, but I would love to see it. And lastly, I want to see the new Smash Bros. Actually, Jordan, what's up?
No, I glanced down at my Lucina, and that's my third Fire Emblem.
Oh
How
wow!
do you have that?
I was literally going to say.
I'm
Fire
sorry,
Emblem.
but I just glanced down at my amiibo. It's the fucking wildest thing that's ever happened on Spotlight Games. That's
Okay. For some context, because we have to pause and I have to
That's
explain
so
myself because
fucking-
that was
I'm about-
wild.
die.
I did not realize how wild that was. I was talking to Maury the other day, and he said something about Fire Emblem Awakening.
Oh
And
yeah.
so I had to when we were back in the studio before we went live. I was like, "Oh, dude, I have the Lucina amiibo because I love Fire Emblem Awakening," and so it was just sitting here on my table underneath my laptop desk.
Hey,
But to see a man reach down and just grab an amiibo out of off camera,
Yeah.
insane decision.
You guys
It's also
think
the
it's
word
weird?
is so smooth too. It's like
Yeah.
I just looked down at my Lucina. Maybe this isn't as funny as I think it is, but I'm also
Maybe I should be
It's really good.
out of this because that was.
You guys think
oh
it's
my
weird
goodness,
in Fire Emblem Three Houses that you play as a teacher to a bunch of students, and then spoilers for Fire Emblem Three Houses. There's a time jump, and then you choose which one you want to date.
Whoa,
Yep, that is weird.
I
Sierra
thought you were
Shard,
gonna
thank you
say a
for
plane hit
like.
the third house too.
Oh my god.
So
Sierra
true.
Shard, thank you for jumping into my brain, like the recesses of my brain where it's not functional right now. Because yes, I want those 2 and 3 remasters.
Please.
We know they're there.
Yes, they have.
We know they're there.
They have
just
to
like we
be.
know the Wind Waker and
Yeah.
Twilight Princess is there. So thank you for reminding me that existed.
Hell yeah.
I love that. What a great if we all got all our wishes, it'd be the greatest console launch in history. But
Yeah.
that won't be happening.
Which means maybe one game from each of our lists if we're lucky.
Yeah.
Correct.
yeah.
But when I know we've already kind of hit on it a little bit from some discussions in chat. When do we think this is launching, boys? When's it coming? Because to take a lead from Patrick's book, I'm already talking, so I may as well just continue talking.
Sure.
Up on their site, they already have, again, they have this registration thing for these in-person events. The first ones are in early April. The first one's April 4th, so 2 days after the Direct, which makes sense because they're not going to show you things that they haven't talked about yet. And the latest date that's already like decided, that's one of the ones over in Europe, is like early June. So like I'm seeing some folks say that they're thinking mid-June for release, but there's at least I think 2 regions that they're like 2 cities that they had that are like to be announced still. So I think there is a chance it releases in May or like late May, early June, because like they just keep the in-person events going to keep drumming up the hype like post-launch.
Sure.
You're going to necessarily wait until after those in-person events are done because, you know, it's, again, with being not in a negative sense, as we already discussed it, like, it is an iteration on the Switch as far as just like how it, like the form factor. Am I using that right? The form
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, so
I think-
like, go ahead.
Nintendo was kind of a creature of habit for a long time with the Switch's era as far as their Nintendo Directs went. And you could kind of just look at their history and see when you could really expect to see one. And they would change it up with like the Nintendo Direct minis with like the partner showcases and the indie showcases or whatever they call them, indie world showcases. But for a very long time, we were pretty much guaranteed to get a Nintendo Direct every February and a Nintendo Direct every June. That kind of like took place of like the E3 thing. And I would expect that there's a slight delay on things and that everything is kind of up in the air because of the Switch. So if we're not getting a February Nintendo Direct, which I would be very, very surprised to see, the next time we're going to see Nintendo do a showcase will be in April. At that point, I wouldn't expect them to launch in early June just because there's probably going to be one more Nintendo Direct with a little bit more space in between the Direct and the launch of the system. Kind of show like probably some more third-party games that are launching within that first calendar year within launch window, and then not to mention the E3 Summer Game Fest stuff that will also be happening around that time. Where like I don't think Nintendo wants to release a console the same week that Xbox has a massive showcase showing like playable Fable and announcing the next Halo, and PlayStation showing The Last of Us 3 and all that kind of stuff. So I would say late June earliest. My guess is July or August of this year.
Okay,
Yeah.
that actually makes a lot of sense.
My body is Reggie. It is going to happen between September and November. No
Okay.
question.
A little
No
further, yeah.
When you look at the history of Nintendo releases, I just pulled it up just to refresh my memory, and my God,
Ryan's
I am
probably dropping it in
one
chat too.
yeah, dude,
Yeah.
like tons of November. I mean, Wii U was November, right? Your 3DS was August. Your DSi was November. Your Wii was November. Like they like those months, and I think if you're showing it that late and you're letting people try it out up until June, I don't think it comes like in the summer. I think it's a little bit later.
Yeah, I feel like I pulled up just home video game consoles on Wikipedia to see like the big ones when it's usually all of them are November is definitely the most released month between PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo. But I think November, that's just way too late for a reveal in February or January even. Like 10 months from unveiling is kind of busted if they did that. So that's why I also kind of feel like September to October is actually feeling a little late to me too. I'm starting to kind of think that July. Ryan said September was GameCube, N64 was June. So I do kind of feel like June's a little early. So yeah, maybe that July, August range, like Jake was saying. Yeah. But I mean, maybe not. Maybe with whether it's tariff stuff or whether, whatever it is, maybe they do need a little bit more time and we see it in like October. I think it'd be a mistake to launch this after September though, personally.
Because I think putting space between the launch games and the things that you pick up with that system and the holiday season games and those big games that launch around that time, it's two big investments. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And I think that the original Switch reveal, like I don't think the rooftop video was the very first, or was it?
It was not.
Okay. Because I think we saw something in like November or December, and then it launched in March, and then obviously a like half step is not the same thing as a full new console, but like they announced Metroid Dread and the OLED Switch during like whatever they decided to do. I can't remember if it was actually an E3 that year or if it was like just a Nintendo Direct type of thing for like the summer week, but that was only 4 months before it launched.
Yeah,
so it was like a June reveal for a game that had been cooking for like 19 years in some form or another, and then they dropped it like 4 months later. So like they're not strangers to having really short windows of time in between like an announcement and a.
That is true. I would challenge that and say Metroid Dread is not on anywhere near the same stratosphere as a console.
Right, but I meant like the OLED also was the same thing. They announced the OLED the same day as Dread. That was like part of the same presentation.
Sure. Yeah, I guess that's a little more apt or a little more appropriate.
But it is a half step.
For sure.
It is a half step.
But the more we talk about it, the more I'm getting earlier and earlier in my timeline. I'm like, wow. June feels good to me.
I hope you're right. I really do.
I just want it.
Well, because Jake's point about like giving more space, because if we don't launch with Odyssey 2, I guarantee it. I will bet somebody $300 we get Odyssey before Christmas.
Yes,
and there's no way if they need that space from launch to Odyssey, they probably can't have much more space than like September at most. If you launch this in October, you're not getting Mario out by the beginning of December.
No,
if it's not a launch title.
If they don't launch with Mario Odyssey 2 and whatever the Mario Odyssey team is working on, then there's something terribly wrong at one of Nintendo's most like prolific fucking developer houses.
You don't think there's any chance that because they're releasing Mario Kart at launch that they're just waiting to do this as like a holiday release? You don't think there's any shot?
I think Mario Kart would sooner get pushed than that one. I mean, there's been actually more development time there.
Switch launch.
I think it's a lock for that 3D Mario game.
Okay. Wow.
Okay. I don't know.
9-year development cycle?
No, you're right. It's been a long time. Yeah.
Maybe this is naive, but I also feel like Nintendo and their IP kind of doesn't follow the rules in that like a Switch could launch with Odyssey 2, Animal Crossing, Mario Kart, and Zelda, and all of them would sell 10 million plus copies.
Yeah.
By the time we got to Christmas time, we're not all buying all 4 together on day one, but over the course of months and months, people are going to be picking up those additional games. So I kind of feel like, I don't know, this is probably naive of me to think that, but I just feel like they have such power with their IP that I don't know that they would change that type of a release schedule for strategy. I feel like they would only change the release schedule to Jake's point, whether it's ready or not.
And plus, they don't give a fuck because it's not like the length of the time that the game has been out is going to affect the price on it in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
valid. Yeah, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is still $60.
Yeah, and I feel like all of those that I mentioned, we're not going to get all 4 of them, but they're different enough that like, as I was saying, it was like, well, Zelda is an obvious rebuttal to that, but it's like, but that's within the same IP of like, why do we not have Twilight Princess and Wind Waker yet? Because it's the same IP, but all of those are different. So like, why not just drop them all if they're ready? But I don't know.
God, that's going to be an expensive day if they drop all those games on launch day.
Yeah,
and I can't wait to spend all that money. I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, and any final thoughts as far as the release window?
I don't think so.
Darn thanks, Star.
Nar.
Well, I know we're probably all getting a little eepy, but I do want to touch on at least one more thing. Obviously, if the discussion keeps going, then it keeps going. We ride it out. But they did kind of hint at, there's obviously, again, rumors, leaks, all that. And the trailer itself for the, that we saw today did kind of show off the Joy-Cons having a mouse adjacent capability of some kind.
Yeah.
Like, what do we think that can be used for? Do you think that's like an exciting thing to throw in as a new feature for a new console? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it makes sense that there's something different, right? Like I'd be surprised that if it had just been, it is the exact same thing but bigger. I don't yet see the vision for having a mouse on a Switch. Like earlier, what I was saying about like, using the screen almost as if like you're using a mouse on an iPad type thing of like, whether it's Civ, whether it's Frostpunk, like that kind of game, like a strategy game, sure.
That would be so good though.
But it's like, I don't know. I struggle thinking of a use case past that type of genre. Like, I mean, I guess you could do like first person shooters with the mouse, but like, I don't buy that Nintendo can have a mouse, a Joy-Con as a mouse, work good enough to be playing fucking Call of Duty Black Ops 6 with a Joy-Con mouse. I just don't buy it.
No.
I get it. I do. I hear it. I don't know. What I do know is that if they do introduce like some sort of a mouse thing with the Joy-Con, it creates like a competitive edge on Switch that other consoles don't have.
For sure.
And I don't know, everyone's talking about how the color scheme, they're trying to show that like the Switch has evolved. It's grown up, it's matured, right? And they're putting more power in it. So it's going to run more like a PS4. Like all of this leads me to think that maybe that's to like add some competitive edge to first person shooters. I don't know. I'm left guessing. So yeah. I'm not sure.
Jake, what you got, man?
I don't think it's going to be nearly like accurate or easy enough to use to have like real functionality in any games that have alternate control input methods. I see it being something more akin to like maybe Nintendo launches a game like what was the Wii U Nintendo Land, where like it was one of those like only examples of somebody using the actual Wii U gamepad and other people using Wii controllers to kind of go back and forth in like an asymmetric multiplayer mode or 5. And then I also think that maybe its best implementation would be like UI, maybe navigating UI, or there's been rumors of like a potential social hub. That being the case of like that's kind of the norm for wobbling around there, right clicking to head over in this direction and talk to your friend or something along that line. I'm not positive if that will be the case, but I feel like it's going to be one of those things where it's like not used for years and years. Then all of a sudden, like WarioWare comes out and they're like, we're in mouse mode. Oh yeah.
Right. Two things. One, maybe this is them being like, you know what? We know you're going to jailbreak it and bring every game from the Game Boy. Just use a mouse. It'll make everything easier for you. Maybe we got an OG at Nintendo that's helping us out. Second thing, and I now have a new third thing. Second thing, shout out to D-Guns in the chat, said they're doing the mouse on the controller so that you can aim better on the revived version of Concord on Switch 2 exclusively.
My Shayla.
Yeah,
my Shayla.
And then my third thing is Patrick. Bring it back. I lost it. I'll come back. I'll think of it again.
Was it me yelling my Shayla at the top of my lungs?
No,
it wasn't. Not that.
Yeah.
Hey, how satisfying Yep, go.
Sorry. Ryan in the chat, he's made a couple comments about how bad Nintendo is at online and social. Call me stupid. Come back in September when this is out and say, Patrick, you were wrong. I think they're going to I think they got to figure it out this time. I think so. This is the Nintendo console where online matters and works. You can't do Nintendo you can't do Mario Kart for the Switch 2 working title without or with 24 players without a good online system. You
Yes.
can't do it.
I agree.
And so I feel like that is them saying we finally have an answer for online with Switch 2.
Sure.
And maybe the mouse helps with that. I don't know, but
yeah. And I can't remember who had started saying it out loud so I could hear it. But I feel like there really are a lot of indie games specifically that are catered toward Steam and Switch releases, at least at first. 1,000 Times Resist being one of them that I just played through a couple months ago. And so it kind of does make me wonder, like if they saw that trend, and a lot of developers do tend to put their stuff on Switch and Steam or Switch and PC of some kind, then maybe they're trying to make it easier on those smaller studios to just have one uniform control scheme. And like, you don't have to develop for the Nintendo Switch, button layout. You can just have a mouse and keyboard-esque way to play it on the Switch.
so then that would suggest Nintendo's going to have an add-on of a keyboard.
No, that's I don't know.
Yeah,
Keyboard,
I just
right?
don't think
Right? Because you
many
can't have a
games.
mouse with no keyboard, right?
Yeah.
I guess.
Maybe. I just don't think there's going to be too many games that really rely on that as its main input function. Just like Nintendo Switch is all about like play it your way, and like there's just no functionality where I could see that being like the only input method is like point and click and play that game. Like it's very much like you want to be able to play this thing in the car. You want to play it leaning back on the couch while somebody else is playing a game on a console and stuff like that. And I'm just like logistically trying to get the mouse and like putting it down on my fucking fat stomach so I can go left and right in some fucking third-person shooter is not going to be fun.
Jastrin, I had that thought earlier, and then it left my brain, and then you brought it back in. So thank you. That because they kind of did that with it's almost like a Wii setup where you have the joystick in one hand, and then you're using the remote in the other hand. But instead of having the remote, you're using it like a mouse.
I'm going
That could
to
be a
love
way.
playing Disco Elysium for the 5th time that way. My God. Speaking of Disco Elysium,
Or Citizen Sleeper, Jake. Citizen Sleeper.
Oh my god, we can
Again.
roll dice and fucking read text.
God, dude, this
Some of the
guy.
best writing. Some of the best writing. But anyway.
I just have to say, Squanky, I'm currently wearing my Thought Cabinet T-shirt, so you mentioning Disco Elysium made my day. I'm sorry, I didn't even point that out earlier, but who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Also, can we just take a second to just admire Jaskrin's profile picture?
Can we zoom in on that?
I
Yeah,
can't.
can we enhance?
Unfortunately, I can't zoom in on it, but
Mm.
a sweet, lovely little cherub under a tree. What a handsome man. Can I
He
just
looks
say?
majestic.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost
Truly
heavenly.
majestic. Yeah.
Ethereal, even.
I can hear his voice in my ears, even though he is 40 miles from me right now, at least.
Wow.
That's a big number.
Yeah. Any other thoughts? Shay Noel here in the chat saying hello, podcast. Hello, Shay. Thanks
Hello,
for being
Shay.
here. Any other thoughts, folks?
Oh yeah, okay. Let me just ask all three of you. I want just respond with a number.
Okay.
10 being the most satisfying thing that's ever been enjoyed. 0 being not satisfying at all. How satisfying will it be to click the Joy-Con into the system? It makes a crazy sound, which I'm sure is not the actual sound, but in that trailer,
It's a smack.
stinks in there. Yeah,
I'm going with at least an 8.
an 8 is high.
Yeah. I'm going to be bold here. That sound was very satisfying. I'm at a 9. When I put that in for the first time, it's also the feeling. It's the feeling of it like just clicking into place with
It's
the
gonna
sound.
kind of pull, right? Like
Yeah.
That's
a
going to
9.
be the big part for me. How much resistance is it going to give me?
yeah.
If
Yeah.
it gives me no resistance, it can't be better than a 5.
You're going to
If
get
it-
about a 1,000 times resist. And that's our show, folks.
I don't know about that. But if it gives me good, strong resistance, I could be at a 9. I could be at a strong 9.
Ooh, I like
Do you
that.
find
But-
the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons often play hard to get?
I'm so glad you asked. I'm gonna be safe though and just say it's a 6.
Mm.
At best, it's gonna be a 6, which is a
At
good number.
best.
Can I just say what a good number?
Yeah.
That's good.
Wow.
Yeah.
What,
A very
I'll
strong
take
number.
7 so that we're all over the place there. I was thinking maybe a 6, but I feel like it's gonna be nice. I feel like it's gonna be a good feeling. Like I want to like get it. I want to have to hold it in my hand and kind of like tense up a little bit so that it doesn't click into place, and try to see how close I can get without it clicking, and then kind of let go and watch it.
Yeah. Can I share one of my actual concerns with this new system?
More like Jake Edgen. Go ahead.
I don't want it to pinch me. I think there's chances that it can pinch me, and that'll hurt my little fingers.
It might pinch you.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be pinched.
Switch-related injury.
Yeah. I just want to have fun playing my games. I don't want to hurt.
I get that.
You know?
I understand.
I want this to be a safe space where it's just me, Mario, Donkey Kong, and 8 beers. I don't drink beer.
Yeah, man. Have a wild time.
We got Toad in the corner.
Yeah.
Watching.
Everyone's got their hand on their Joy-Con. Hand check. Good job.
Where's my Lucina? You'll never know.
Well, I think we're about at the end of our show. Before I came in here and we went live, I was grabbing a little snicky snack, and I told my wife, Rose, like, oh yeah, no, we haven't actually done the recording part yet, but I don't expect it to be long. We're probably like 30, 45 minutes. And then I took a beat and I was like, knowing us, it's going to be more than an hour at least. And here we are, an hour 16. So here we go. But thanks for being here for this emergency pod. I don't know. I had fun with this little late night. I'll see how I feel tomorrow at work, but maybe we do some more just like spontaneous podcasts on a Thursday night. How about that? You can follow me at P Schwussy, also at Spotlight Games Pod everywhere. That's right here on Twitch. That's YouTube. That is Instagram. That is Threads. That is Blue Sky. That is not Twitter, formerly known as X. Maury, where can the folks follow you at home?
Yes. So believe it or not, it is not G Switch Maury. It is GWT Maury. You will find me on every platform except Blue Sky. I still have to make my Blue Sky account. But you will find me on every single platform under GWT Maury. That's Twitch, Instagram, all the above.
Jake?
I am Jake Twitchin on all platforms, but that's hard for some people. So just go to amazingstreamer.com. You'll get where you need to go.
Hell yeah. And Cog, thanks for leading the conversation tonight.
Thanks for letting me lead, you know?
Of course.
Doing a little tango.
Ooh.
Enjoyed you all are great conversationalists. So you make it easy.
Tango Jordan. I'll take that dance again.
But you can find me at Cognitive Clips on pretty much everything. If you're interested in hearing my dulcet tones talk about stuff with games in the background, youtube.com/@cognitive-clips.
Ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. Thanks for being here. Shout out to the chat. What a lovely chat tonight. We'll be back next week with some fucking bullshit. Actually, it's going to be episode 150. It's going to be really fun. We have a really fun thing that if you listen to all of our episodes, you've heard us talk about this idea before, and it's finally happening. And GWT Maury going to come on the show for what I think is going to be a banger. Until then, have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.